sucked that life out of him. Or maybe it was just the natural progression of age. He blamed both for his lack of energy and inability to let loose anymore. Mixed in with the Glaciers players were friends and family of the wedding couple, ones he mostly knew at least by face, if not by name. Family. That was what his teammates were to him. He spent more time with them than his own blood relations, than anyone else. It had been that way since he'd gone pro at 19 and moved to Florida to play for his first professional team. Damn. He squeezed his eyes closed until the stinging behind his eyelids subsided. What was wrong with him tonight? Grenick swung a chair around and plopped down heavily into it, his grunt mixed with a sigh that Scott understood. "Those kids have more energy than me," Grenick said, confirming Scott's assumption. Give them time. At 34, Scott was practically a dinosaur in the sport. That was us once. He pointed at the group that was now doing jumping chest bumps in a disguised challenge over standing vertical height leaps. Shit, now you're making me feel old. Nah, it's hockey that did that. Ain't that the truth? Grenick lifted his glass and Scott clinked his to it. Grenick arched a brow at the empty state of Scott's glass, then threw back a long drink from his. That drink looked good. Too good. Scott turned away before his mouth started to water, absently rubbing the inside of his knee around the edge of the brace that encased it. The pain that constantly radiated from it seemed to intensify with the discussion of the game. He should be used to it after so many years. Yeah, right. That was kind of like saying someone should be used to losing his arm after a couple of years. A low curse came from Grenick, and Scott jerked his head up, frowning. What? The scowl wiped from the other man's forehead a second before he slammed the last of his drink. A stiff smile pulled on his lips. I've been found. Scott spotted a leggy brunette heading their way, her determined stride unhindered by the platform heels and thigh-hugging miniskirt. Her chin was lifted in that perpetual tilt that managed to make him feel like he was being looked down upon, even if he was physically taller. What'd you do? Scott asked. Grenick shrugged. Who knows? He stood, adjusted his jacket, and cracked his neck. Best to head it off, though. He strode away to sweep his current girlfriend into a quick spin and dip that only deepened her scowl when she straightened. She jabbed a finger at Henrik's chest, then whipped around and stalked toward the exit. Henrik's hand firmly in hers as she dragged him away. Henrik trudged along without complaint. He managed to shout and wave at Hawk before he left, but there was no pause in his stride. And that was why Scott avoided girlfriends. They always came with expectations and no instructions. Fuck. He shook off the bad memories before they took hold. Weddings had a way of dragging up the past, along with the what-ifs and thank fucks that had taken years to appreciate. He slipped the mint case out of his pocket, plucked up 2 pain pills, and swallowed them dry. They should kick in soon, which may give him the relief and boost he needed to drag his ass onto the dance floor. If only they could provide the motivation, too. A raucous roar went up as Vanessa was lifted onto the shoulders of 2 of the younger guys. Her hands were fisted in the hair of both men, and a devious smile lit her face as she stared at Hawk, who stood in front of them. Beneath her, the hard grit of the men's teeth said exactly how gentle she was being. Or not. Scott's laugh burst from him in a sharp jolt that managed to alleviate some of his sullenness. Vanessa and Holden were a match that worked in ways Scott understood but didn't. The woman made his balls shrink in fear at her sharp tongue and even sharper claws, but Hawk actually reveled in that very thing. Hawk reached for her and she leaned forward to fall into her husband's arms, her smile warming to the one she reserved for him alone. In that moment, Scott could clearly see the ballbuster in her, along with the trust and bond that held the two together. Envy snuck in so quickly he didn't have time to prepare for the hit.